Hello, pod lovers, and welcome to another See You Next Thursday podcast. Today, we'll be catching up on the major happenings in world football that have occurred in the last few weeks. We're bound to have missed some talking points, but so much has happened, it was impossible to fit everything into an hour. Good day, sweet cheeks. 2 pods in a day. It's like old times again.
Are we going to be keeping it down to an hour though? Because I've got no idea how we're going to get all this done.
Well, I say an hour. I mean, really, 3.5 days or something like that.
I know, there's been so much happening while you were away. It's been so nice because I've not even had to talk to you.
Sexting don't count. All right, mate, let's start.
Don't you start on the sexting thing.
That's my only joy in life, mate. Don't let it stop. All right,
it's a pain in the arse, though. I wish you wouldn't do it.
Oh, yeah, pardon the pun. Let's start with the joke that is the English national football team. The spat between Raheem Sterling and Joe Gomez.
God,
was that
while you were away? God,
I'm still talking.
I know, but I just got bored.
It started in the Liverpool versus City game at Anfield, continued in the canteen, and finished on the back pages. What's your take on it? Did you like that? See what I did there?
No, I wasn't listening. Sorry, what did you say? I wasn't listening. I got bored. I fell asleep. You took too long. No,
you can have half of my... Mate, you can have half my talent. Do you know that? My journalistic talent, because...
Mate, if I had no talent, I'd still have twice as much talent as you.
Just give me your take on Sterling and Gomez.
Nothing. It was just a nothing, wasn't it? I mean, it was just two kids having an argument that, like, you know, they were just het up over the game. But unlike in the past where they used to meet up for a beer after the game, nobody does that anymore. You know, they obviously for obvious reasons. Like, they don't meet up after the game for a beer with the two teams in the same bar, like they used to. So they don't get they don't get to sort out the issues and, you know, shake hands and get over it. Like,
no closure.
Yeah, so they just carried it on. You know, it was something and nothing. The problem was, and this is what made it a problem for me, is Southgate's attitude. It was a disgrace.
Yeah, no, you don't think he covered himself in this situation, do you?
It was absolutely disgusting what he did, throwing Raheem Sterling under the bus like that. He made a mistake. He dropped him. That should have been the end of the matter. There should have been no more needed to be done.
And why do you think he did what he did?
Because it's a chance to get it's a chance to get himself in the papers again.
Really?
Southgate just loves the sound of his own voice.
You think it was fueled by ego?
Oh, he's hugely egotistic. He loves the sound of his own voice. He loves to be in front of the cameras. That's why he didn't do that. You know, he loves things. That's why he did the advert for Pizza Hut. And now, remember?
Oh, the Euro 96.
Yeah, he loves being the centre of attention. He thinks he's a superstar. Just Gareth Southgate. He was a crap player and he's a crap manager. He's just... I just don't understand why he's even got the job. He was a failure as a manager, and they just seem to think, well, we'll just go for him because he's with the under-23s, and it's worked for everybody else. In other words, it worked once, so let's copy what somebody else did.
And I think he says the right things. He's safe.
He's a media whore. Let's be honest. He loves the media attention, so he'll pander to them.
Yeah, and I think he's easier to handle.
Yes,
some other personalities, probably. Yeah. What did you make of the Sterling and Gomez back? Was it something that?
It was nothing.
It was something or nothing.
It's just two kids having an argument that should have been solved. Like I said, it should have been sorted out at the time. But, like, you know, obviously they never got the chance to just, you know, to get it out in the open at the time, and then they're away with England, and it's festered. When you don't, you know, when you don't deal with something immediately, it can prey on your mind, and that's what had happened to Raheem. He knew he'd had a stinker, and then, like, you know, it's been bugging him ever since.
And not scoring that much against Liverpool or
Yeah,
at
it
all.
keeps happening, and he
Yeah.
knows it, and it preys on him. It
Yeah.
bothers him, and he got dragged off, and he gets heckled, and he gets, So then when Gomez comes in and makes a comment, it's just gone. It happens all the time in training. Players fight all the time in training. It's not like it's something
Yeah.
unusual.
I thought Gomez handled himself very well with dignity.
I thought
Situation.
Sterling did as well in the media as well, where he was backing Gomez and said it was really, it was my fault, my mistake, and it was me at fault, and all that. He said all the right things. The only person who didn't was Southgate, because he put him right under that
in
bus.
that position.
He shouldn't have done that. It's made a problem where none should have existed. I've heard people saying, the thing that got me is I've heard people saying, oh, it'd have come out in the social media. Well, so what? Nobody had known whether it was true or not. What he's done is he's made it an issue on social media and in the newspapers and stuff because he just wanted a bit of a chance to do it. It's just a chance for him to have something to talk about and be the centre of attention is, I've done this, I've dealt with this.
Because if it had come out on social media, it would have been conjecture, hearsay, fact. And he's just gone and made it a fact by what he's done. So I hear what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, he's made it an issue where otherwise nobody would have. They'd have just thought he's ill. That's all he had to say. Sterling's not, it's not well enough to play. He's got a bug. He's off for that. He's going to be missing the game, or he's picked up a knot. We're just going to, as a precaution, we're leaving him. That's it. And nobody even needs to or questions that. Even if there are a few people in, a few of the papers might have put it out, tabloids or it gone round. Which means nobody had really questioned it. Nobody had cared enough,
Yeah, by doing what he's done, he's sabotaged Sterling and Gomez.
Well, he's made it difficult for Sterling, who's already suffered enough, you know what I mean, at the hands of the papers. And it just gave them another excuse to jump on him. And it also gave Southgate a nice little out if they didn't play well.
Oh, yeah, of course. And
if they did play well, it says he can sit there and say, look how well I dealt with that because we played well. They were playing a crap team. You didn't do anything, let's be honest.
So win-win for Southgate, really.
Yeah, he either the team wins and he looks like he's done brilliantly, or the team loses and it's all Raheem Sterling's fault because everybody blames him anyway.
Yeah, you think that he'll keep his job if he has a bad Euro Championships?
I think they love him there at the FA, so yeah.
Well, he's done nothing to. Well, he got to a quarterfinals of the World Cup.
Yeah, but who did he play?
Croatia
was the only team they played that were any good, and they got beat by them. So, but it's the way England fans are, though. They get excited when they play against crap and think the team's world beaters because they beat crap teams like Moldova and teams like that, and they get all excited thinking they're going to win everything, and they never do.
Didn't England get knocked out by Colombia?
When?
In the World Cup, or was it
Croatia?
I don't watch international football.
No,
I don't really watch international football. I'm sure. Well, maybe. Who knows? Who cares? Okay, mate. Let's get on to the scourge that doesn't go away. Racism in football.
I thought you were going to say you or your piles again. That seems to be the thing you seem to moan about a lot. So I assumed it might have been something to do with that.
There's a lot of instances.
Keep telling you, don't sit on concrete seats.
Yeah. Again, there's a lot of instances of racism in football over the last few weeks. We should talk about. It really is. I mean, let's.
I know the Serie A teams came out and they said they're going to stand together and fight it. But then, within a week or so, you've got more instances of it, and then you've got the headline in Corriere dello Sport with that Black Friday headline. I mean, what the? Yeah, I just can't.
It was. I mean, I know we're going to talk about the instances one by one, the respective instances think uniquely, but
we've only got an hour,
Corriere,
remember?
I know, but that Corriere dello Sport headline, how does the editor give his blessing to that headline?
To be fair, this is something that, I've got to point out something here. This editor, right, the editor of that particular sports paper, does do a lot of events for the what's it called? There's a fascist society, a well-known fascist society in Italy. He
Right.
headlines events for them on a regular basis. So let's just say that he's probably not the best person to choose what's racist and what isn't.
But how can you not know that is a fascist, racist, bigoted headline? I just don't understand.
Well, that's my point. Is I'm saying this guy doesn't give a toss, but they did know because they even admitted the guy who not the editor on the actual page, the guy who put the headline, the guy setting it up, checked with him before doing it.
The journalist.
Yeah, not the journalist. It's the guy who was the print setter. Even checked that it was right before he did it.
Wow.
He even said, and they said it as well in their own tweets when they're defending it. They've said themselves that they checked it. They checked with the editor before they posted it. They've said themselves they double checked it to make sure it was okay and things like that with the editor. And you're thinking that really doesn't suggest you weren't worried. If you weren't worried, why were you checking?
Even in the uber bigoted culture that is Italian football, that's a new low for them. I really can't understand, and again, this is indicative of the situation in Italy. The Balotelli getting racist abuse.
And called not Italian because he's black, basically. I mean, what's that all about?
His passport says he's Italian. He's Italian.
They're happy when he's scoring goals for them.
Well, that hasn't happened in a long time, but
no. But I mean, they love him when he's scoring goals. It's only when he's not that he becomes a problem.
It's disgusting. It's. Again, there's so many. I mean, what do you? I mean, I know there's the Italian. I'm speechless. I'm lost for words.
Yeah, I'm loving this.
I'm just so incredulous at the Italian FA, saying that they number one don't think they're having a problem, and then they're coming out with, yes, we're going to take a stance. Last week, like we're going to take a stance on this. Racism, and then more instances coming out after they've made that proclamation. It's a frigging joke.
That wasn't the FIGC that said they were going to take a stance on it. That was the Serie A clubs themselves that came out with that proclamation.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
The FIGC said that they don't have a problem with it.
Right. Okay. Gotcha. But the clubs turned around and said that
we're going to stand together and do something. We don't think it's right.
I mean, there's.
But then Brescia Sac, have told Balotelli to pee off. In other words, haven't they?
Pack his bags. He can go in January free.
Yeah.
And instead of backing him up, they're getting rid of him. They're trying to sweep the matter under the carpet. That's no way to deal with it. No, I mean, there's Tyson reacting to racist abuse.
That's unreal. And then he gets sent off, and they're upholding it and banning him. I mean,
and you can see he's incensed. Quite.
Well, he's in tears. He's absolutely broken-hearted with the way they're treating him.
The guy's kicking a football about for a living, and he gets abused because he's been. I mean, I just don't compute how these idiots, these knuckle draggers, It can bring.
I thought it had gone away when what's his face that went and joined Leicester. Do you remember him, the Nigerian lad? Oh, really quick.
Leicester.
Yeah, really quick, but he didn't really play much for them. He was a forward or winger. Lightning quick Nigerian lad. And they put up all banners about him, glad he's going and all that. I can't actually say what they said. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To get rid of
course,
him.
Yeah.
It was just, and you're thinking this lad had played and scored for their club and led them to trophies. And they're glad to see the back of him because he was black. I mean, what's wrong with people?
It just sickens me. I mean, Marco van Basten. I mean,
yeah, but that's not really. I don't think that can be clumped in the same thing as racism. It's a different, because it wasn't. I mean, he said what he's saying is the guy who was doing a German interview with someone. He was listening in and he overheard it, and he said at the end of it, "See Kyle." He was saying it was meant to be a joke about how bad the guy's German was. As in, like, it was just a Basil Fawlty moment where he tried to be funny and said the wrong thing. Live on air, as it turned out, even though he didn't realise it was on air. Being recorded, like.
Yeah, but Sieg Heil is a fascist command.
Yeah, but what I mean is he wasn't saying that, like, he was taken out of a Dutch... it's a bit like if you were interviewing someone in, say, French, and I said came out, you know... said something, I don't know, something Napoleonic or something like that. You know what I mean? It was meant to be his. You know, he should have. What he should have done is he should have used something else. I don't know what, but like he was just trying to make a joke about. It'd be like
he's trying to be humorous, but it backfired.
Yeah, it was just something stupid. It was meant to be him taking the mick out of the guy's German accent being terrible.
Yeah,
he didn't know. Okay. He doesn't know much. And he's just made a complete... Basically, it was a bit like that. This is why I keep comparing it to Basil Fawlty, because it's a bit like the moment where he says, don't mention the war, you know, where he's saying, don't mention the war, mention the war kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then he ends up, it's, you started it. No, you started it, you invaded Poland sort of thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was that kind of stupidity where he was trying so hard not to, you know, and then he's said something that's just so stupid and so wrong... that's caused a problem without actually meaning to be wrong. It was just stupidity.
Gotcha. Yeah. It was just a faux pas.
Yeah, that's
the antidote. The antidote to this is Genie and De Jong. Did you see that?
Where they
or was it Van der? I can't remember who it was with Genie when they had their arms side by side and like uniting in.
That was at the Dutch game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was that?
Yes, that's the one, pal. Van der Beek or was it De Jong? I can't remember who it was.
I can't remember now myself. I'm trying to think. It was one of them. Yeah, was it Van der Beek?
See, what's the solution here? I've heard. Maybe it's Delight. Yeah, maybe it's Delight. I've heard people say employer zero policy. But like we talked about in earlier pods, that's open to abuse and skullduggery as well, because fans could other fans could get into the stadium, and you know. So,
or you could say you were just putting your hands in your pocket, like the Man City fan claimed. I mean, come on. He was making monkey noises and doing the actions, but he was just trying to put his hands in his pockets, and he's not at all racist. Oh, come on, lads.
I honestly can't believe he's offered that as an excuse, right? You'd have more. Respect is not the right word. You've had more appreciation of the guy if he turned around and said, "You know what? I effed up. I really, really, really messed up. I did say I did do what I'm being accused of, and you know what?
Heat of the moment, and it was stupid of me, and I can't apologise enough. I'm an arsehole, you know what I mean? That's all you have to say.
What? And yeah, possibly I am racist, right? And I'm willing to go to.
Oh, it's just a heat of the moment. I never thought of it that way until I'd done it, and then I suddenly thought, "Oh my God, what have I done?" Yeah, but clearly he's just come out because he's been seen on video. Let's be honest. It's only because he's been caught. It's not because he's he's repentant. He's just been caught. That's the issue.
And you know what? I know Fred's had a lot of detractors and everything, but I thought
he had a good game.
Situation with, he's had a couple of good games, last couple of games. I think Fred handled the situation with the utmost dignity and class.
Got it with a lighter as well, you know.
Exactly, got hit maybe a bottle. Or,
no, it was a lighter that hit him. They were throwing bottles and stuff, but he got hit with a lighter. He said.
But what a way to diffuse the situation. You know, Fred could have got angry. He could have got upset. He didn't do. I mean, he dealt with that. I'm not sure I would have dealt with it in the same way he did, because obviously you're upset. But he dealt it with such a. I was stunned the way he dealt with it, and he was a real gentleman. He was utmost class. So props to and kudos to Fred for that.
Well, he said he didn't even see it at the time. He got the stuff thrown at him, so it's like it's easy to be magnanimous when you've just beaten the other guy's team, innit? To be honest, it might have been a bit different if it had been a game they were losing and he'd seen it, but like exactly. But I'm glad he did, because like there's nothing to be gained by reacting. It just means they've won.
Exactly. What's the solution here? I mean,
unless you can fix society, I don't know that there is one.
Yeah, but it's 2019, 2020 nearly, right? We haven't fixed society in 2020 years. What chance have we got in the next few months? It really is ridiculous. I mean, that race plays such an important part, an ugly part of society. It's got
worse since the Brexit thing as well. Definitely in the UK.
I have no idea. I don't know, mate. I don't live in the UK. But my point is,
I don't. Fixed, so when I go back, because I've been living away a while. When I've gone back recently, it's just you just notice it more. It just seems more open and more. It's just not. It's not a nice feeling. It's got worse. It's more open. You know what I mean? You've always knew there was racist about, but they didn't have the balls to say it openly. You know what I mean? They keep it to themselves, but now they're actually, they seem to think wear it as a badge of honour now. You're thinking there's something wrong with them.
And that's compounds of the notion that, again, we've had 2,020 years on this planet, and we still ain't fixed the problem. How are we going to fix it now? I mean, we aren't. I mean, let's face it, we aren't going to fix this problem. I mean, when you get people like, I can go back to the example of John Terry, the England captain, abusing Rio Ferdinand's brother racially. So what chance have we got now? What chance have we got fixing this problem? When the English captain is racially abusing a fellow professional.
Well, look at it this way. This is the thing that got me is, you look at the number of the FA employed Stuart Pearce. He was found guilty of racially abusing fellow pros on more than one occasion.
Right.
And yet he got a job in the football, with the English FA, let alone as a manager. You know what I mean? He's managed clubs around the league. Then you look at the number of teams right now that are employing people who've actually been charged and found guilty of racist abuse or racist attacks, things like that. Lee Bowyer at Charlton. Right. He attacked a group of Asian. Remember the Asian lad worked at McDonald's? Yeah. No, I was talking about before that at Charlton. He had a number of problems there with where he was racially abused, involving racial abuse of Asians. He went to Leeds. He attacked. There's that attack on the student, and Jonathan Woodgate, who's now borough manager. So there's two already. Then there's Joey Barton. How many times has he been found? And we all know that when he is what his brother did, but we also all know that the attack on what's his face when he was on the floor, whose name completely escapes me. Was it Darbo? Whoever it was that he kicked in on the floor?
Oh, the Man City kid. Yeah.
No, that was Tandy you're thinking of as a kid where he stubbed a cigar in his eye. But no, there was a guy, I forget who he was, but he said it was racial, there'd been a problem between them anyway. Over race. Right. And there's been a number of occasions where there's been problems where he said things that have been he's been found guilty anyway of racially motivated attack. in that case. Then there's Mark Sampson at Northampton Town. They're employing a man who was booted out by the women because he was racially and sexually abusive.
Abusing them. Yeah.
England women. So why are these people in football? If we want to fix a problem, you don't employ racists. If you've got a problem with racism, the last thing you do is start employing racist pricks in a role. They shouldn't be in football. They shouldn't be in football in any way, shape or form. They should have been kicked out. And until that happens, you can't expect racism to stop.
One thing I am is a realist, and I don't want to be a Debbie Down this kind of, but I really do believe you're never going to have a problem. And I just think the best you can do is do your best. I mean, and the best isn't good enough at the moment. I don't think, as I said, I keep saying it's been 2020 years, we ain't fixed a problem. We're not going to fix a problem in the next few years because you're always going to get bigots.
But the first thing you got to do is when you've got a committed, but you have known bigots, you get them out of the game. It's the first thing you got to do because you can't. How can you say to someone you can't give them racial abuse and then employ someone who who's given someone else racist abuse?
But there's a reason it's not. There's a reason it's happening. These guys are getting jobs. I mean, let's hope and pray this is old school mentality, and there's over the next few years that we're going to have a more tolerant society. But as you say, you go to England and it's not more tolerant; it's even worse. So I have no idea what the future holds, and I just hope and pray that these incidents become more and more isolated. You may not be able to eradicate them, but let's hope they get more isolated in the future.
Yeah, I can't see it happening, but fingers crossed.
I truly believe there is no solution.
I don't think there is either. But the first thing, like I said, you've got to get them out of the. Can't keep employing them.
Yeah. Let's not give them jobs. You're right, mate. All right, mate. There's a lot to be talking about, so let's get to Jose to Spurs. Give me a take on that one, mate.
I don't think it was much of a surprise. He had pretty much been throwing his hat in the ring for about 6 months beforehand. So it wasn't really a surprise. The only surprise is how well he's doing, I think, with the attacking side. I mean, what's going on there? Has he rejuvenated himself, or is this just a short-lived flash in the pan and he'll soon go back to 10 men behind the ball and a keeper?
Well, to be fair, when he came from Porto to Chelsea, he was pretty much revolutionised Chelsea, and he was playing.
Did he though?
He defended, but he played attacking football.
Did they just do a lot of diving around the box to win set pieces in the? No, and they were more. I think they were more. They were physical and dominating in that respect rather than playing. It wasn't really. It was just physically, and they'd physically bully other teams, and obviously they had.
Oh, but they had Setien and
They were powerful and they were quick, and they had Drogba who could just tear. Who could handle him as a defender? No one.
And they moved it about well as well, though. Yeah. Drogba was well.
Yeah, but they weren't really like. It wasn't like they had the centre backs overlapping like say Sheffield United have or anything like that. He's not really. He was never really an attacking manager. They were just better. They had better players.
He played better football than Vialli, Zola.
It's a bit incomparable because Vialli and Zola never had the money he had.
Good point. Yeah, he did.
He came in. It was only Ranieri had a few months with the money, and then he was gone because he wasn't Roman Abramovich's choice. So we never got to see what the others could do with the money. So I wouldn't like to compare them.
Do you think he's gone away in his sabbatical and thought, right, I've got to be a little bit more attacking, or is he being attacking because he's got those players at his disposal? at
I
Spurs.
don't know. This is the exciting thing, is we're finding out, because you can't really tell. You're looking at it and you're thinking, is this what he wants to do, or is this just the only thing he can do at the moment? Until they play somebody good, it's a bit difficult to know. That's harsh on Burnley and that. I don't mean that as in, you know what I mean? I mean one of the top few sides.
Their only loss has been against Manchester United, and maybe that was an off day. But yeah, it's I think it's exciting times for Spurs fans, because he's no doubt going to go and buy in the summer, and
he's a proven winner. You know, you can't really argue with that. He wins things, so that's something they need.
He's won everywhere he's gone. There isn't been a place. I mean, he even won the UEFA Cup, United, but
before he joined Porto, I don't think he won anything, did he? So.
Well, I think his.
And I know that's not being harsh. I'm just saying, you said everywhere he's gone. I'd just like to point out that that isn't quite true.
So, no, you're a literal prick like that.
I know. The pedant in me comes out. I can't help it.
Yeah. Prick ain't a swear word, is it?
I've no idea. We'll pretend it isn't.
Prick ain't swearing. No, that's not swearing. Nobody can get offended by prick. Listen, what was I going to say?
Well, you can't, because you are one. So, there's no point really.
No, but it's exciting. I think it's exciting times for Spurs fans, because he's going to go and strengthen in the summer. He's got a decent squad there. He's got Dele Alli playing a little bit better than he was, so that's positive. He's got Son playing out of his... Well, Son anyway.
Yeah.
Harry Kane scoring goals.
Doesn't really change anything with Son, does it? Well, no, because Kane scored a good one at the weekend, but he hadn't been scoring for a while, had he? He'd only had something like 7 shots in the previous matches. And Jose.
He's got a good haircut this time round as well, so he's fired up. And
the thing is, as well, Levy won't be able to get away with not doing anything in the transfer market. Yeah,
that would have been discussed.
And I don't mean that because of Mourinho, by the way. I mean that because of the fact that this is him. This is his again. He's the one that's made choice after choice of manager and brought nothing in terms of silverware. And Joe Lewis has been getting annoyed with that already.
Yeah.
So this is last chance saloon for him as well.
There's no chance. In those talks between Levy and Mourinho, Mourinho said to him, "You know what? I just want 30 million every summer. I'll be all right with that as a transfer kitty. No chance."
Yeah, he's probably said, "No, I don't want you to buy anybody. There's nobody I'd want to buy a perfect squad. You can't see it, can you?"
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see if the defenders stay. And Eriksen. Is it Alderweireld and who's the other one to go?
Vertonghen. Rose.
Vertonghen. Well, Rose, they're not going to get.
You said defender. I wasn't listening then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I was getting mixed up then with Rose. I was just thinking of players.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what he comes under, but it's certainly not a defender.
I think it's employee, isn't it?
I don't know, but if you come up with a top 10 left backs at Tottenham, he wouldn't be in them, would he? Let's be honest.
It'd be 12, wouldn't it? Yeah. So,
if that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can Lloris play left back?
Whole damn sight
probably
better than
yeah.
Yeah. What was I going to say to you? So it'd be interesting to see if Vertonghen and Alderweireld stay, because they're older now as well, aren't they? So he probably wants to get a younger player in as well in the defence. I'm sure.
I don't know. He don't mind. I think it's Sanchez he needs to replace. I don't think even he can turn him into a defender.
No, there'll be a phasing out situation with some of those players for sure. I think because it's him, a lot of them will stay.
Do you think he'll want Matic?
I'm not sure. I don't think he'll go back to. I don't think he'll buy in January, and I think in summer he'll start his evolution. But I don't think he'll get back. I don't think he'll get Matic in. I don't.
Just wondered because he normally wants him.
I just think he's gone back for him twice. I don't think he'll go back for him
A bit old now, anyway, isn't he, Matic? I think this might be past it now.
Exactly. He's got a good base there. Let's be honest. He has got. He's right. Jose's right. He's got a great squad, a good squad of players.
Do you know what
He's got.
But I was just thinking about something. You know, you were saying about will he go more attacking and that. Thinking about his first team, he put in Dyer at the centre. You know, at the centre of midfield and that. I think he wants to go a bit more defensive than he has. He'll want somebody to play that role.
Yeah.
He'll want a holding midfielder in there. All joking aside, I don't think it'll be Matic, but I think it'll be be somebody.
No.
I think he'll want somebody like that, a Fabinho type.
He's played with a defensive midfielder wherever he's gone. So, and he had two of the best in Makaleli.
Oh, what a player he was!
Yeah, exactly. I think we'll get rid of the keeper. I think we'll get a new keeper. I think he's got the balls to do that because I don't think Lloris is good enough. And
he's lost his way, hasn't he? Him.
Yeah, he maybe has a renaissance under Jose. I think too. Again, as you say, it'll be interesting to see what happens down there. They've got that Ndombele, which is a great player.
I really like him.
I don't understand why he sits on the bench. I really don't.
He had a few knocks, I think, didn't he?
Did he? Yeah. He makes things tick. I tell you, and he's intelligent as well. He's not
skillful
just a workhorse.
Too.
He's really skillful and intelligent as well. His game IQ is very, very high. Would love him at Liverpool.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
All right, let's go to their neighbours across London, across North London, Arsenal, firing Mr. Emery.
Yeah, poor Dick. Hardly a surprise. I'm just surprised. The only surprising thing is it's taken them this long to get rid of him.
Yeah, they did that because he was punching about flat. The reason was that it was such a false table because there's so many bad teams that
but last season they were awful as well, and I didn't understand how they couldn't see it. I mean, you looked at that team, you thought they've bought him a defensive midfielder, a striker, a better striker. You know what I mean? They'd improved the team anyway. They brought in much better players than a defender and that Wenger didn't have. All these players, they brought in a good, built a stronger team for him to use all season, last season, than Wenger had the year before, and yet he didn't do any better. And people weren't even sure whether that. I just couldn't see how people could, didn't realise then that he was a crap manager.
I think their logic was that they gave him. They had a break clause this summer.
Yes,
I think they were going to take, and there was no compensation to be paid. I think they wanted to go. They wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt last summer. They were going to go towards this summer.
But let's be honest, the only reason they sacked him is because the crowd stopped going. It's the same as with Liverpool with Brendan Rodgers and
Roy Hodgson.
Yeah, they only sacked him because the crowds dropped. That was why they were sacked. No, let's be honest. That's why they got rid of him. No, and that's what Emery was sacked for. Exactly the same reason. As soon as the crowd dropped, you're gone. There was no other reason than that.
If I was a Spurs fan, I'd be hopeful. But if I was an Arsenal fan, I would be absolutely bricking my pants now because they are a club in disarray. They are light years away.
Yeah, well, I don't think they actually are. I don't think they've got that bad a squad as it's looked. I think Emery's just utterly inept. He's useless. No, but
it's not the squad I'm talking about as such. It's this structure that everybody keeps going on about.
I know that's a mess. But, I'm talking about, to get results on the pitch. They've still got a team there that's good enough to do it.
No, but this structure, is it as inept that everybody can it?
It's a mess, but what I'm saying is, long term they probably haven't got a lot to look forward to. But I'm talking about in the short term, a good manager should be able to get good results out of that team. They've got the players there.
Well,
even Torreira, he was fantastic. Then he got signed for Arsenal, and he he can't play. I mean, he's been awful since he's joined them. And yet,
he was good the first few months.
Yeah,
and then
but then Emery got his coaching into him, and then he became crap. Yeah, that's what I mean. But what I couldn't understand is, like, this is what I was saying anyway, the reason why they sacked him was because the fans turned on him. What I didn't understand is how the fans stayed with him so long. I mean, how did they not see how bad he was? It just seemed to me like the only reason he survived was because he wasn't Wenger. And they decided Wenger was they'd been campaign, all these idiots in Arsenal Fan TV and all these other morons that just rant and rave. They'd ranted and raved so much about how bad Wenger was that they couldn't possibly admit anyone could possibly be worse. Otherwise, it made them realise how stupid they were. Made them look like the imbeciles they are.
Absolutely. Now, looking outside in, and if I was a top tier manager, I don't think I'd go near that club. And I know it's an attractive proposition. God, no. I wouldn't put my reputation on the line on that, because I just think there's so much bad there. It's going to take.
It was you that sent me that thing about Allegri, wasn't it, where he's learning English so he could reject them.
Yes. Yeah. Now, to be fair, they need somebody like Allegri. I would go in with somebody they don't need a Flash Harry. They need somebody who's...
Well, they wouldn't have him anyway, because he's been at Spurs and they'd never have him.
Who?
Flash Harry, Harry Redknapp.
Yeah. Boom. What was I going to say to you? Yeah. So I'd probably move heaven and earth to get somebody like Allegri, because you need somebody in there. He's strong character, who's not flash, who's going to play out from he's going to be defense first, and they need stability.
I couldn't argue with that. The only problem with him is he is supposed to be very difficult to work with, which could be a problem.
No, but if it's not Allegri, it's somebody of that ilk.
I was trying to think of somebody. I was trying to think of somebody like him to suggest.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I was trying to think of. Sorry, that's why I stopped. I can't think of anyone.
Yeah, I can't think of any. Nor can I. I mean,
not anyone that would be considered that would consider the job anyway.
See, I would say it's a Rafa type manager, but I don't think Rafa would work there. Because I don't think the fans would take to Rafa, and it'd make his job really difficult. Because you need the fans on side from day one to make your job easy.
Yeah, same as like Everton, it wouldn't be right for him, not because the fans wouldn't take to him. They wouldn't.
Yeah.
Just wouldn't
now,
have it.
What about... There's rumours of Kovac going to Arsenal, Marcelino.
Kovac was because he's been going around watching football. He's taken a break. I can't see why they'd want Kovac. He was so bad, the Bayern players asked to have him sacked. Literally asked to have him sacked. That was why he got the sack. That's not That's what Bayern themselves came out and said after he got the sack. Is that the players asked us to get rid of him. That's why he's gone.
And they got hair flicking.
Hair flick.
Now,
yeah. I love that. You couldn't have been. That's brilliant. Picking hair flick to take over.
All right, mate. So that job at the moment is
the other Marcelino. Arsenal did approach him. Yes,
they've approached Marcelino.
Yeah, they've asked him if he'd be interested.
Now he's again, from what I can gather, he's very difficult to work with, because not that he's an arsehole. It's the fact that he has very, very high standards.
He tends to talk too much as well to the media.
Okay, gotcha. Because I know that if you're a pound overweight or whatever, he gets on your back, and he's an autocrat, and he's a totalitarianist, like a bit like Julio.
Well, Klopp and Pep are the same.
Yeah.
They expect they expect the best. That's why they win things.
Marcelino got top four, Valencia to top four, and got him a trophy as well.
The one I was thinking of, I was trying to think there was one, the more I think about it, he probably wouldn't be I don't know if he'd be the right He's not the right fit as in what you're suggesting they need, a defensive first manager.
You were going to say,
But
you were saying Gallardo, weren't you?
no, Garaggio would be stupid to take that job. He could walk into any job in the world. Why would he want the Arsenal job? No, I wouldn't suggest him at all. He's too good. He needs a job where they'll back him, and he'll get proper support from the backroom staff and that. No, I was going to suggest Quique Setien. They would be. He plays fabulous football, and he normally gets good results as well. But he doesn't play defence-minded football. But what? He'd be fantastic.
But
they need to move quick because I could see him ending up at Barcelona in the summer.
He was the Real Betis coach, wasn't he?
Yes, and then the problem was Barcelona came in for him. They were in the Europe. They're in. This is Betty. They're usually struggling against relegation or in the division below. They're normally popping up and down and that. They're never been they're not a big side. They've got they've got a really small fan base in Sevilla. They're not a big side. They're not not really small, but you know what I mean. They're a much smaller side than Sevilla. They're just not, they're not like as big as them. But the board there decided they should have finished top 4 and, should have had a Champions League run and finish in the top 4 every season. And so when he didn't quite achieve that, they sack him and then they wonder why they're fighting relegation again. Because the only reason they get in top 4 and and getting into the Champions League is because they had him in the first place. They get above themselves sometimes, teams do. And they think they're better than they are because they've got a manager who's performing miracles. It'd be like Sheffield United turning around to Chris Wilder and saying because he didn't finish in the top 10 if he finishes outside the top 10 this season, right, we're going to sack you because you didn't finish inside the top 10. If they hadn't got Chris Wilder, they wouldn't even think they'd have a chance at top 10.
I think Setien would be a manager. They need to get a defensive manager in first and then 2-3 go for somebody of Setien's ilk. I just think they need to solidify first because it would be. I just think they're leaking goals left, right, and centre. They just need to be.
Yeah, but he's one of those that could take those players and get them winning. He'd get Ozil playing like Ozil used to. Instead of it being only Ozil who cares, he'd get them all caring. Which
I just think they
says a lot, isn't it, when Ozil's the one that's caring most of all.
Yeah, exactly.
In your team.
I think that first and foremost, they need a disciplinarian that they respect. Because they didn't respect Emery at all. He was a disciplinarian, but they didn't respect him.
Well, Emery he's not a disciplinarian, no, mate. He does things like he expects them to learn from watching videos rather than talking to them because he can't speak to them.
That's what I mean.
Even Saka came out and said, I didn't understand a bloody word he said. And then Emery came out and said, yeah, he does. We've had long chats. No, he didn't understand what you were saying. That was his point. That's what he was trying to tell you.
How can you so fabulously get communication wrong is that unbelievable. Well, it'll be. Do you think they'll go with? I mean, Freddie's not going to work out. I mean, do you think they'll go with Freddie for the others?
Why is Mertesacker even there? I mean, this is the thing I still don't understand. The guy's come out. He's made comments about how he didn't want to play football and all this, and then they made him a youth coach. What the? Get this guy out of the club. He's one of the first problems. And then you got Freddie Ljungberg, who, let's be honest, he's not got the fire in his belly. He never had. He's not the right type to rescue a club that's in trouble. He's not. He's just not got it. He might turn out to be a good coach in the long term, but he's not a caretaker man who can just come in and breathe fire into the side like Duncan Ferguson has done at Everton. Because that's all you need a caretaker to do just for a couple of games.
I can't see Freddie Ljungberg give somebody a rollicking. I just see it.
Oh, he's not.
It'd be more like
he's laid
not
back.
His temperament. It's not his exactly. So what do you think? I mean, will they hire somebody? They have to hire somebody, right? Before they can't give it to Freddie till the end of the season because they'll get relegated.
Well, this is Arsenal, though. You never know, do you? But I think Marcelino's the one they'd like to get in. But I think that's only until the end of the season, just to see them through, while they decide.
What they won't? They want Marcelino as an interim.
Yeah, I think that was all they're looking for at the moment.
He won't go for that.
Well, it'd be with the with the option to extend in the summer, sort of thing. On a contract till the end of the season, and then we'll talk about an extension if you do well, sort of thing.
Right. That moves us along nicely towards Silva getting fired and Everton wanting Marcelino as their first choice. Silva just needed putting out of his misery, right?
I don't know if Everton want Marcelino.
I think Ed 002 came out on the site for a choice. He's not interested. Yeah, he's not interested in Everton. But
I don't know who they're after.
But Silva just needed...
Oh, yeah, sorry, you're right. Sorry, I was thinking... For some reason, I thought we were on about Watford for some reason.
Well, no.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see Marcelino going to Everton. I just don't think that he had a Everton type club in Valencia. I think he just wants to go. He needs to go up a notch now, up a sphere.
I just don't see that Everton have got a bar. Do you know what? The more you think about it, though, Everton will back with money, but the problem is they've got Brands who I don't understand how he's got he got more responsibility and a big and a pay rise and that in the summer. I mean that I didn't understand that at the time, and it's making even less sense as the season's gone on, and you see how badly all the players he's signed are doing. Whether that's down to the manager saying he wanted the wrong type of players, I know is difficult to tell how much is down to that, but I just can't see what Brands has done that's so good. And first thing I'd want to know is his position, is it in jeopardy or what?
Brands came in with a lot of fanfare, with a massive reputation, and I think he's not living up to that at the moment, because any of those players, I mean, I'm failing to think of any player that I'd have in the Liverpool side.
Well,
maybe
who's he signed has been a success.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So
Zuma on loan's the only one I can think of.
Yeah, but that's an easy signing.
Yeah, it was on loan. It's not a...
Exactly. So there's maybe Digne I'd have in...
Oh, yes. He's definitely a good signing.
Yeah, but one out of what, 11, 12 players? That's hardly
and maybe Sidibe, if he gets a chance, he might be a good
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, even a blind man can do 2 out of 10, 11 players. Sign 2 players out of 12. Good players out of 12, So, yeah, you're right. I think I'd be questioning Brands for sure before they started. I mean, for them, they need to just get in I keep saying it on the site, and you alluded to it a few minutes ago. For them, the perfect manager would be Rafa Benitez. But the fans won't take to him.
No, that's right. It's not the perfect man. Has to fit the Everton. He has to get involved with the community and all that. He has to be. I think someone like Dyche would be the perfect man for them. Not necessarily. The problem with him is not perfect, because you don't know what style of football he'd play. That's the problem with him. If he's going to come in and he's just going to play 4-4-2, man, they seem to love it when Duncan Ferguson did it. So maybe they wouldn't be that averse to it if it was long term. I mean, I don't get it. They hated it when Sam Allardyce did it, but when Duncan Ferguson did it, they love it. It's bizarre, but yeah.
But it was just so... The football under Silva was just so putrid that anything different would have made a difference. But
I mean, if Dyche comes in, he says to them, I'm not just going to go long ball like I do with it. I'm not just going to have 2 target men. That's not the type of players here. It's just, you can understand. Does he just do that at Burnley because that's all he can afford to do? If you see what I mean, he can't buy the players to play the quality football. If so, I'd say he'd be the perfect man, because he gets very involved in the community. He, he creates a good atmosphere with the players. train. They
I
train
don't.
hard. They stay fit. They work for him.
I don't see. I don't see Dyche getting Everton in the top 6. I just don't.
I think
And that's where Everton want to be.
I think he could, but I'll tell you, the thing is, you've got to pick a player that's. I know people say it's not about the philosophy of the club or whatever. It doesn't have to fit that, but it does have to fit with the way the fans see themselves and the club if they're going to get behind it properly. That's why there's certain managers that do that really well. Klopp's done it at Liverpool, and look at the difference it's made. Pep didn't have to do it at Manchester City because they didn't see. They just wanted. They don't care. They just wanted to win.
They didn't have a philosophy.
Yeah, they didn't have a DNA as such because they'd been out of in the doldrums for so long. Nobody cared anymore. They just wanted to win, and they'd already been. They'd been taken over. They'd sold their soul basically for the win. So they don't care. It could have been any. As long as it was a winner, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
But Everton are different. They've been up there and they're still there, and the fans still want a certain thing. You know what I mean? So you have to get the fans on side, like Klopp did at Liverpool, like Mourinho did when he first came in at Chelsea. Dyche has done at Burnley. Eddie Howe's done at Bournemouth. Because they're crap, but the fans are still backing him. Why? Because they love Eddie Howe. Chris Wilder, Sheffield United. Yeah, exactly. If you can get that fans behind you, the groundswell of support, you can get more out of a team than it actually has to give, so to speak.
Even the German fella at Norwich, they may be bottom of the league, but he's
Farke.
He's got.
Another German who did it was Stendhal at Barnsley. In fact, no, Barnsley. Stendhal. When he got sacked, the fans held a party for him, a leaving do, because they were so gutted about him going.
The guy at Huddersfield as well.
Yeah, Christopher. Go on.
Klopp's
David Wagner.
I can't remember.
David Wagner.
Yeah, I remember that when we couldn't remember.
Yeah, that's why I was. That's why I was making.
I still couldn't remember. Yeah. So it'd be interesting. I'm quite interested to know who Arsenal and Everton will employ next, because that'll just it will be a reflection on what they're thinking. How they want to go forward, kind of thing. Because whether they play it safe or do they go for
maybe Everton should go for Quique Setien.
Maybe. Do you think they'll get him? I don't know.
Well, he's out of work at the moment, and I know Barcelona were interested, but I don't know. There's a good chance Valverde's not going to last much longer, but
I don't think so. I think it'll be this season, and that'll be his last.
Yeah, I think he's been on the verge of going for a long time. But how long can Quique Setien sit around waiting for that? He's waited over a season for it already.
True.
Maybe it's time to just take a job.
Yeah.
Try himself in the Prem.